Alright guys, this is the keyboard tutorial for Hillsong Kids Follow You. And we're going to start off with the verses and the intro. For the intro, you're not doing anything. And about halfway through the verses, you're not doing anything either. But in the second half of the first verse, you start doing this. And all that is I'm playing octaves with my left hand, so I'm going A, B, F sharp, E, and I'm just holding on this back and forth, E, A, E, A, E, A, E, A. So it's just E, A, E, A, E, A, E, A. And you'll do that until the pre-chorus where he goes, I love to pray. When you get to that part, you'll go from doing the to, for the pre-chorus, you would go to. It's got that same type of pattern that you're doing through the verses where you're going, but instead you're changing it up a little bit. So you're going you're doing an F sharp on the left hand, D, F sharp, D, E, all octaves. And instead of doing the whole, you're just doing the top. It's a F sharp, C sharp, and you're just going back and forth. What we've got there, D in the left hand, you're going D, A, D, A, D, A, back up to your F sharp, and there you go to an E. So that's just E, B, E, B, with an E octave in your left hand. By the way, the F sharp minor. And we'll see that in the chorus as we move on. The chorus, I'm playing all inversions. And the reason for that is it's just so much easier to catch chords faster when you're limited to one area. So for the chorus, I'm just going. And if you see, I stayed in just this one area, and a lot of times they were going from chord to chord, there were fingers that didn't even move. So what I mean for that, let's start off with your A. It starts on A, so you go A, C sharp, E, A with an A chord with an octave A. And when he goes every day, I like to pop down to this B. It's almost kind of like a foreshadowing to this E chord, I guess you could say. Because what you're going to do is you're going to play an E inversion there. So I go down to that B on every, and then I use that position there. All I have to do now is take my thumb up to the C, and I got my E chord. So, and that E inversion, that's just G sharp, B, E, and it's such a quick, if you see, so easy to hit from your A chord. Then you go from there. You're going to have a little bit of a change. You're going to have quite a change on this one, but you go from E to F sharp minor, and here's the beautiful thing about this inversion. The only thing you'll have to change when you go to your D chord is this pointer finger. Completely easy and convenient. For your F sharp inversion, you're going to have an F sharp octave there. It's F sharp minor inversion. You're going to have an F sharp octave there. You're going to have A, C, F sharp. And then for your D inversion, you're going to have pretty much the same chords, except you're going to move this C sharp here to D. So that D inversion is going to be D octave in the left hand, A, D, F sharp. So that whole chorus is going to look like. Nothing separating from your love. that sets you up for the next verse. There's a break in that between the chorus and the second verse, where the guitars are going ba-dow, bow, ba-dow, bow, and it's really cool. You don't have to play anything for that. And so then we'll go into the next verse, and you're just simply going back to that. So that's your E, A thing going here in your right hand with your A, E, F sharp, D octaves. And then your pre-chorus is just the F sharp, which is just your F sharp, C sharp thing going there, to your D, A thing going, and E, B, with the. So that's just as a review. Okay, so not on the first pre-chorus, but on the second pre-chorus, I do kind of an arpeggio thing, and it goes like this. All I'm kind of doing is A arpeggio, so I'm just going with octaves. So I'm going A, E, A, so it's going all the way up to that high A there, and I'm just going, and then I'm going down to E, so it's E, B, E, then up to your, what is actually an F sharp minor, but we're actually going to leave out the third. So it's F sharp, C sharp, F sharp, down to a D arpeggio. And you'll do that twice. On the second time, I don't arpeggiate the D. I just kind of land there, because the whole band is building up and is about to go back into the chorus. If that seems a little difficult, what you can do is, instead of arpeggiating it, because it is a quick arpeggiation, you can do kind of like what we do with that kind of thing. What you would do instead, I just play the octaves, keep the octaves going again, and I would just do. So that is A, E, A, E, A, E, A, E with an A octave. Then for your E arpeggio, instead of doing the arpeggio, you would do, so it's E, B, E, B, E, B, E, B with the E octave up to your F sharp minor, that is, F sharp, C sharp, down to your D, which is going to be a D, A, D, A, D, A, D, A. And you'll do that for the second pre-chorus only. Then you'll go back into your chorus. I believe it's a double chorus. And so before you go back in, so you go, nothing separate me from your love. Nothing. Everything, God, nothing can separate me from your love. And then you have a 4-bar count, 16 beats. That gives you enough time to pop into this. The patch is called Sweep Pad. It's on the Privia piano. And so what I typically do is, before I get into doing any of the music, I'll pre-program that, and all I got to do is, when I turn the keyboard on, I press that GM tone button and press these arrow buttons here until I find this patch. So, boom, there it is. And the nice thing about these Privia pianos is the number is 132. And the nice thing about the Privia pianos is that they're so user-friendly in the fact that once I have that there, as long as I don't turn off the piano, it's going to stay there. So if I go switch back into my piano and then I want to go back to this pad, it's still going to be there. So back to the song now. After you do the chorus twice, you'll go into the bridge. There's 16 beats, 4-bar count, and then you'll go pop into that sweep pad, and you'll go. And that goes back into the thing. So now for those chords for the bridge, for the sweep pad. For the bridge, you're going to have F sharp minor, so that goes back to your A, C sharp, and F sharp. So F sharp minor to D, so that's your D inversion, A, D, F sharp. A, it's just a regular A major form. E, so you got E octave, G sharp, B, E. And then you'll go back through that chord progression again. You'll actually go back through that chord progression 2 more times, but on the second time, instead of going down to that E, you'll land on that A. So it'll go. And you'll hold that A for 4 bars, total of 16 beats. That gives you enough time to pop back into your piano patch and go back to the. So he goes back into a kind of sort of verse type deal there. And there's a little something different this time around. Instead of switching between your bass octaves there, I just stay on that A the whole time. There's really nothing else going on in the band. Otherwise, they're all kind of hanging on that A. And you just go. That's the different thing there. He kind of throws it in there as a nice little slight, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's kind of cool and different. All you're doing is going from this E to this F sharp, and it's only for a brief period, so the whole thing sounds like this. And then after that, he goes into the ooh, 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 I'm gonna follow, ooh, I'm gonna follow. He goes into a D, so there's your D inversion again. A, D, A, D, F sharp. D inversion, down to a G. So what I'm doing here is I'm pretty much just doing, I'm doing octaves on both hands, but on the right hand, I'm adding in this fifth. So I'm not playing the whole G chord, I'm just doing this arpeggio kind of type deal. I'm just not arpeggiating it. So D, ooh, I'm gonna follow, ooh, I'm gonna follow, ooh. The next thing I do, there's kind of like a short little pause, and if you time it just right, you can throw in this slide and then land on that A to go into the chorus. Not necessary. I kind of do it because it's fun. But as long as you get the timing right for the chorus, that's all that's needed. So there's that short pause, and you kind of hear like a guitar in the background go. Every day, God, nothing ever separate me from your love. Hey, God, nothing. He does a quick, short little pause. I think it's about a beat. And then goes back into the chorus. And that's the song. That's the tutorial for Follow You by Hillsong Kids.